Hello there, it's Jay here from Jay's Vintage Junk. And today we're going to have a look at something that's not vintage or junk in particular. Just basically, I was doing some gardening for someone today, and they said could I have a look. They knew I did a bit on the electrics and bit of repair work like this, and they said would I have a look at a controller for a sewing machine. The woman of the house is a tailor. She does custom dresses and things like that. And apparently she lent her spare sewing machine to one of her relatives. I actually know this relative, it's a friend of mine. And they have a pet rabbit, and it's a house rabbit. And apparently while this was all coiled up, the rabbit had a nibble of the cable. And basically has chewed through the cable in a few places, so I was asked whether I could have a look at seeing whether I can repair this. Because I mean, it's not her main machine, but it is her backup machine, so if her main machine goes down, she does kind of like need to be able to rely on this, and it's not the same controller as her main machine, so she can't just swap them over. So I thought we'd do in this video is go through seeing if we can sort this out for her. Now it's made a little bit tricky by the fact that there's a custom plug which actually goes into the machine there, and obviously it's all moulded. Got a moulded plug on that end. Fortunately we can get into the actual pedal there, but what it does mean is we are going to have to splice them cables. So I thought it'd be a good opportunity to show a nice way of splicing a cable like that in quite a neat way. So I think we're going to have to do repair on both the cable from the controller to that plug and the mains plug to that plug as well, because I think they're both well tuned actually. I think we'll start with the one from the pedal there to the plug. We'll go through that first and we'll see how much damage that's actually got. We'll start at the controller here, and basically the pedal, and what we need to do is just basically go down the flex and see where we can find some damage. And obviously straight away we've got, I think she did try and repair it horribly with sellotape, but we've got our first let me zoom you into this so you can see. This is very similar to what you'd find with a mouse or rat damage actually. That's me. See if I can get you in there. I don't know if you can make that out there. It's cut through the outer insulation and it's gone well into the inner insulation. Fortunately on the neutral side there, it's a bloody good job this thing weren't plugged in when the rabbit was nibbling at it, or else I think they'd be having rabbit stew. But yeah, so we've got a nick there. We'll keep we've got a nick there, and that's in the live side. We've got another nick there. I mean, if there was just one nick in the cable, we'd look at perhaps just, and it weren't too severe, perhaps just heat shrinking it. But I mean, we've got another nick there. This isn't so bad. I've not found anything up there. That's all, and we're okay right up to the plug there. Then, so let's come back. And we'll find the first bit of damage on the cable, which is here. So I think what we'll do, we'll come back a bit there and we're going to cut the cable. Let me zoom you out a bit so you can at least see a bit of what I'm doing. So we'll cut the cable here. We're saving quite a nice length on the from that connector. Right, let's see if we can get inside this thing and see if we can replace this bit of cable. What we can't just do, unfortunately, is just like cut it there and join the two pieces together, because then you won't be able to reach the pedal. The pedal will be floating in mid-air when you've got your sewing machine on your table, and obviously your pedal goes on the floor underneath you, and the wire isn't very long. So I might do her a favour and add her another couple of foot to this cable, make it a little bit easier for her to actually use, because she was saying it's very short, even as it is. Because I said, oh, I'll just join it and just make it a little bit shorter, and she said it's only just long enough really as it is. So let's see if we can get inside this thing. I think, yeah, it's standard Phillips. little bigger driver. That's better. Get that one out. There used to be shops you could take anything like this to get a simple repair done like this, but there's literally nowhere. She's been looking around trying to find someone that would repair it for her and not be able to find anyone. I wonder if there's another couple of screws under here. Yes. We've got a screw there. Yeah, we've got a screw there. I presume there'll be another one there. Yes, we have. There we go, that's the first one. Get that out. Get that out. Right, hopefully we can get in here now. There we go. Nice and simple in here. We've just got a nice big contact switch there. Mains in. So all we need to do is need to disconnect this here. Hopefully we can. Let's get this strain relief off. There we go. Take that little plate off there so we can get to the neutral. There we go. Right, so what have we got under here? We've got a suppression capacitor there. We've got a spade connector onto a connector on that side there, and I presume we'll have a spade connector on this one here. Yes, we have, so we just need to pull them off. That's that one off that side. Pull that one off that side. Alright, we've got a bit of heat shrink. We've got a bit of heat resist on there. It's like a fiberglass insulation. I don't expect why it should get particularly warm in there, but we'll do something similar. Take that bit of grommet off there. We'll reuse that. Get that off there, so we want them. Now I haven't got any of these tiny little crimps, so we're going to have to reuse them, I'm afraid. What we can do, we cut the wire. So that's the piece of wire we're replacing. That's the piece of wire with all the rabbit teeth marks in it, basically. Now I did find myself some more replacement wire. What have I done with it? There it is. This is what I normally use for doing the old AC/DC valve radios with. I've actually need to order some more. I'm running out. But it's the same, basically same gauge, 0.75 as what this is. So what I'll do is I'll measure off a piece a little bit longer than what I'm replacing, so I can give it that little bit of extra length on the cable. We'll snip that there and get the excess out of the way. So that was that's basically the damaged bit there, and I've cut a new piece which is twice that length, so I'm just adding like twice that length on to give it that little bit of extra flex on your pedal, because like I said, she did say it was a little on the short side. Right, now what we want to do is going to do a bit of, basically going to graft them onto this. If I had some of them tiny little crimps, I'd just crimp new ones on the end, but I haven't got any that small. I've only got the larger variety, and I did promise I'd get this back to her tomorrow. I've got to go and finish off doing her garden, so I did promise I'd get her pedal back at the same time. Just strip off that cable like that. and twist them up. Let's get that where I can work on it. And again, we'll just strip these as well. There we go, that's that one stripped. Let's strip this one. There we go. Right, so that's our bits stripped. And we're going to want some heat shrink. See what we've got in here. I need to order some more heat shrink as well. I am getting a little on the light side. Doesn't really matter on colour, to be totally honest. It's never going to be seen. It's going to be inside something. Oh, I've got a blue. Yeah, I've got a blue there. In fact, I've got ones a little bit smaller than that. It's obviously I've got like the tube down from that. Let's have a look at them. That might be a good one. No, I'll have to reorder some more heat shrink. I think I am getting a bit low on I'm getting a bit low on some sizes. I've got a few different ones out there and we can go through them and find something that's going to be suitable. But basically what we want to do, let's get some solder as well. I really get everything out and ready before I start these videos, but I'm not the most organised of people. Right, that's everything we need. So first thing what we want to do, let's start with the live actually. And basically, can you see what I'm going to do here? I'm going to cross them over in the middle like that. In fact, I just want to bear a little bit more copper on there. Let's just go in and let's just strip a little bit more insulation off. Because you want about equal between the two ends that you want to join together. And then if you cross them in the middle, so basically cross them over so the copper, if you look, can you see that? Let me see if I can zoom you in so you can perhaps see what I'm doing a little bit better. Right, there we are. Basically, if you cross them in the middle like that, so the copper is crossing, hold on to them, and then twist either way, like that. And you can see, oops, you can't see that on the, can you, oops, there we go, can you make that out? So if you see, I've twisted each wire into each other so it creates like a double helix kind of look, so they interlock between one another like that. Let me get that onto the, oops, where are we? There we go. So basically, if you can see there, like I said, we've got the wire from that side and the wire from that side, so they interlock between each other, so they're twisted round each other like that. Then all we need to do, we get the old soldering iron. Let's clean the end off a little bit. Get the old soldering iron and then just tin them two together, let the solder flow. There we go, like that. Now once that's cooled, there is no way at all that they are ever going to pull apart. You've got a mechanical and a soldered connection there. It really is a very solid way, and it's flat. The nice way of doing it like that is then when you take a piece of heat shrink, you can slide, well, a slightly bigger piece of heat shrink than that one. You can slide a piece of heat shrink easily over the top of it like that. And when that's shrunk down, it's a perfectly good sound join. That's a perfectly acceptable way of repairing a cable if you can't actually go into something and re-terminate it. This is like the next best way of going about it. We'll just shrink that down, make it nice, and we'll do the other one. So I'm just using a what's it just to give that a quick shrink down like that. And there we go. So that's the live done. I'll zoom you out a bit so you can see a little bit more what I'm doing. We'll do the other one exactly the same. So we just get the two wires like that. Get them in the middle. In fact, again, I'll just strip a little bit more back off there. Oops, there we go. Take a little bit more off this one as well on this side. There we go. And again, let's twist that up. Twist that up. And we go in the middle between the two like that. And we just twist each way together. And there we go. That's it made mechanically. I'm going to take some solder. Wet the iron up. There we go. So just let that cool off for a second, and then we can put a piece of heat shrink over there, and that's good and safe. There we go, that's nice and solid, that's not going to break apart. Take our piece of heat shrink, put that over there like that, and get that over the connection. We'll just shrink that down. There we go, and that's jobs are good 'un. So we've got our new piece of cable on there. We can reassemble this in. Oh, we'll put our little fiberglass things back over like that, and we can reassemble. Oops, let's get you up. We can reassemble this back in here. So that side on there like that, and then we'll push the little bit of heat shrink over it. This side on there like that, and again we'll push a little bit of heat shrink over it. We'll bend our cables down. Now I have made one mistake, but fortunately in this time it's not a major one. I'll just stick that little piece of shielding back over there. That just hides that capacitor. That's just a motor suppression capacitor. It stops the helps to stop that little pop you get on your radio when a motor starts up, or the light. You know, it's basically any inductive load. When you press that, you'll get a spark, and that capacitor just helps suppress that spark. That's all it's there for. Fortunately, I should have really put that on before, but because we haven't terminated the other end, we can slide it on now. Slide that, it's just basically like a grommet, a bit of a strain relief for the end of the cable as it comes out. That it's not a major thing, but it's nice. We'll make sure it's back in where it should be. That goes back in there like that, and we can screw that back on. That back in there, put this last screw in there. Okay, right, so that's that side of it basically done. We'll put the base back on. Put that back in there. that in there. Get that screwed in. There we are. Right. So that's that side of it done. We've got a new flex on there. Bit longer than the old one, which is better. Like I said, that'll help her. We know that that bit of cable now is still okay. That's the good bit from that connector without any rabbit damage on it. So basically all we need to do is do a splice on them two cables now, get them together, and then we can have a look at the plug side of it, because that's also got damage on it. Right, so what we need to do is we need to strip back basically some from each side of this, and I'll show you what we're going to do. We'll strip back perhaps a couple of inches from there. Another reason for putting that extra bit of cable on, because I did know I was going to have to cut back a little bit of it. So we'll, there we go. We've got our live and neutral exposed there. Well, switch wires really, because they're off the contact. They're off that switch. They're not off the plug. These. So we'll both carry live when the switch is engaged. Right. There we go. And what we're going to do here is we need to stagger where these wires are going to be cut. So what we're going to do on the live side, basically this is the side that's to the moulded plug. On the live side, I'm going to strip it back right from the end there. And on this side, I'm going to cut off about that much, like that, and then I'm going to strip it back like that. So can you see, so basically when it's joined together, that connection is going to be there. Then we're going to do the opposite on the neutral, well, on the blue. Shouldn't be calling it a neutral because it's not, because these are switch wires. So on here, like I said, we'll strip it off from the end there, and we'll strip it, basically we'll cut a big chunk off there, and then we'll strip it off like that. So can you get the idea what we're doing? Basically there's going to be a joint there and there's going to be a joint there. Right, now we need a little bit some more heat shrink. I think we'll get away with that. We can get that on there. Might just need to trim that down a little bit. In fact, no, it should be okay. Oh, I'm forgetting something here. We need to put basically we need to put something on it to cover that, don't we? So what I'm going to do, unfortunately I've not got any in black, so it's going to have, the repair's going to have to be green, but never mind. I think we can live with green. Yeah, we can live with green, can't we? Well, we're going to have to live with green because it's the only colour I've got. I'll twist these together. Slide that on there. Slide that down there. Right. We'll twist that together. Put that one twisted together. We'll start with the neutral, I think. So we put that on over there like that. In fact, we'll just have to trim that down a little bit. Slightly too much. There we go. Slide that on there like that. And exactly like we did inside there, basically we cross them in the middle and we twist them back on each other like that. And I did that slightly unevenly, so there's a little bit of excess on that side, but I'll deal with that once I've soldered it. So we go in again, just wet the soldering iron up. There we go. Now where's my little yellow snips? There they are. And we can just snip off that little bit of excess there. And get that over the... Unfortunately I got it a bit hot at the end there and it started to shrink, so I have to cut. That's why I cut it back before, because that's what you really don't want to do. It'll still do what we want, I just have to cut that bit where it had already started to shrink off. Because unfortunately you get it too close to your soldering iron and that's what happens, it starts to shrink. It's a bit of a fine game when you're doing this, because you need it all nice and neat and tight, and tight, so you've not got the repair over a big length, but you still need enough room that when you actually solder it on like that, you're not going to do what I just did and accidentally melt the heat shrink before you've actually got it over what you're actually trying to heat shrink. You have to give that a little squash with the pliers, I think. Basically just shape it so that the heat shrink goes over it without incident like that. So there we go, we've got the heat shrink over where we've just done that repair. We'll just shrink that down. There we go. So that's that repaired. We could do with another piece of that red about that same diameter, couldn't we? See if we've got another piece of that. All that red will do. Oh, that one should do it. Again, we'll just have to just snip that down a little bit. Like that. Now this is a fairly easy one because it is only 2 cables. I've seen people do it with your multi-core cables, and then it starts getting a bit trickier than this. We just basically just need to figure out where they're going to join. Again, twist them together exactly like you saw me do before. Just like that. There we go. And again, I'll just, that's okay. We'll get the heat shrink. Just have to let that cool off a little bit. Again, I've got a bit close to that with the heat shrink and just slightly shrunk the end off it, so I'll just have to deal with that. There we go. And we can pull that again over like that. So that's over where we've just done that. Again, we'll just quickly shrink that down like that. Have you noticed they now lie nice and flat? And take that bit of green heat shrink now. And this should be able to go all the way over the repair. Make sure you've got the repair roughly in the middle of where your new piece of heat shrink is, and then we'll just shrink that. There we go. I know it's not an invisible repair or anything, but at least she should be able to use her machine again. Perhaps just give that a quick extra little heat up there. There we go. So that's the first part repaired. And now let's have a look at the mains cable and see how bad that is. So we'll start again. We'll start from the moulded connector, and it's okay around the connector. We'll come on down. We've got a knot there. We'll get rid of the knot and then we can examine round near the knot. Right. We'll get back to where the knot was. So let's have another feel down here. And there's the damage, and then it carries on up there. So I think what I'm going to do, because I've got actually, that's quite bad, that damage. Unfortunately, what I can't just do is just chop it off there and put a plug on the end, because I don't think this cable then would be long enough to reach where they need to for a socket. But fortunately, I never throw anything away. So let's cut that, and after I've just said that, let's put that in the bin. And what I've got is I've got a cable that I've salvaged off. I think I've salvaged this off an old TV or something like that, but we've got a nice moulded plug. We'll cut that grommet off because we don't need that. Like that. But then we've got, that's as long, if not slightly longer than the one we've just took off, that's got all the rabbit teeth marks in it. So basically we're going to do exactly the same again, and we're going to put a join on there, and that's going to be it repaired. So like I said, it's going to be exactly what we've just done. We'll strip off a bit of this. Like that. Get rid of that. Let's see, we've got some couple more pieces of suitable heat shrink. I'm really getting short on my heat shrink. I've got a black one there. Got another piece of red. I've got loads of really thin heat shrink, but it's this kind of size that I must admit I'm running out of a little bit. I will have to order some more. What's that there? Got something there that might do. Alright, I think we've got things we can do it with there. We should be good enough. And I've got some more of that green left, have I? Where's that? Where's that big piece of green that I've just used? What on earth have I done with that? Oh, bloody hell. So we need to put that on before we can start. And there it is, I've put it in my toolbox. Right, so let's cut a piece of that off. About the same length as we used last time, I think. So about there. So it's exactly the same again. So we thread a bit of that on there first. Don't forget that, or else you're going to be using insulation tape and it won't look as good. So we'll slide that on, bring that down there, so there's no chance of accidentally heating that. Right, and like I say, it's exactly the same. So on this side, in fact, we'll just get on this side. We'll do the live long. And that one will do the live short. And on this one we'll do the neutral, and we can call it a neutral because we're on the plug end, on the mains flex, so we'll do the neutral long, like that. on this side obviously we'll do the neutral short. Like that. Okay, so let's put our heat shrink on the live. Oops, get in there. Push that right down to the end. In fact, again, I think we'll just trim a little bit off that so we don't risk melting it and shrinking it prematurely. That's better. And we can take them two wires, so exactly like we did before, in the middle, and twist either way. So you're not just twisting in one direction, you're twisting in both directions at the same time. And it looks like that. Let me zoom you in so you can see that, because it's a really nice one. There we go, you can see that there. And we just solder it exactly like we did before. Come in here, touch your solder on there. Let's bring the solder on. There we go. That's all soldered. Zoom you out. And then we just got to put once that's cooled a little bit so it's safe, we can just get our heat shrink. Come on. You know, the heat's travelled up the thing again, and then just caught the heat shrink at the end. Come on. Ooh. I've not picked a heat shrink up that's got a glue in it, have I? By accident, because I've got some which has got like an adhesive built into the inside of it. It's designed for where you want something that's absolutely waterproof when the repair's been done. Ah, there we go. When the repair's been done, basically you it seals the joint as it goes in. It's rather it's quite expensive heat shrink actually. I acquired some from a previous employer. I think I should have really used a slightly thicker heat shrink there. I'm struggling to get that on a little bit. Yeah, I think I've used a slightly too thick. In fact, I'm going to have to cheat there. I'm just going to have to. It's almost to the end. I'm just going to have to put a tiny little bit of insulating tape, just to make sure it's absolutely insulated. Because I think I should have used a slightly thicker. This won't matter in the slightest because it's getting a heat shrink over the top anyway. But yeah, I think I should have used a slightly thicker, wider diameter heat shrink there. But I mean, the joint's still good. This joint's still perfectly sound. Mechanically, the insulation's fine because we've put that bit of heat shrink on the little bit where it was showing, and it was just glinting through. And if we heat shrink this one good and solid, then we're not going to have a problem anyway. So again, like we did last time, twist in both directions. There we go. And then we solder it. And that technique of twisting it in both directions is far better than other ways I've seen it done, where you basically tin both wires, you lay them side to side and then solder them. Your problem with that is you're relying on the solder to hold them two together. It flexes and they're going to break. As the way I do it, where they literally interlock like that all the way through, then they're soldered. It's much, much stronger, and it lies a lot flatter in the actual connector. Right, oh, we got that one on this time. Right, okay, so we've got that on there. We'll heat shrink that down. There we go. Just give it a little bit of flame. You can also use hot air for that. It's just because I'm in the office, I'm just using, pinched it out of the kitchen. Right, so that lays nice and flat there, and then all we need to do is we'll take our green heat shrink and take that over the top of it. There we go. We want to make sure it's in the middle, basically, of between them. So we just keep feeling where the centre of it is. It's about there. Then we can, we can get you up a little bit, and we'll just heat shrink that like that, all the way along. Just flip it over so we can get the other side. There we are. Okay, job's a good one. And there we are. So we've got new flex on that. It's slightly longer than it was. We've still got a moulded plug, which people just like a moulded plug nowadays. We've given her a little bit of extra length on the actual between the plug and the machine, and we've given her a little bit of extra length between the machine and the foot pedal, which will obviously help her immensely. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there for now, because like I say, it was just a quick little video just showing a technique for joining, basically joining up a couple of pieces of cable and doing it in a fairly neat, I mean, it would look a lot neater if I had black heat shrink, but if you can see, it's not bad. It looks a lot better than just a tape repair, and it's a lot safer. Anyway, like I said, I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope you enjoyed that little video. So thanks for watching, and goodbye.